Hello, beautiful peasants, and welcome back to the TAVERB. I have some fun extra things to share today. Kind of impromptu, but I'm excited. Oh, I see. Satyr is at the airport. Does not have time for these peasant shenanigans. Satyr's one of our mods. Alright. How are y'all doing today? It is Friday. You having fun plans for the weekend? I always have D&D on Saturdays, and I recently bought the DM guide, which is exciting. I know you don't have to have that book, but I'm an over-preparer, and it makes me happy. So I can have my giant How to DM book next to my player handbook, next to the monster manual, and I'm really starting to think about doing my first one-shot, and I'm really excited. So yeah, keep an eye out for that on Discord. I want to do a one-shot with just 4 people, and I'm giving priority to forever DMs/GMs. Because I found that DMs are great, actually, to play with. Some people are like, oh, they can rules lawyer you. I really haven't had that issue or seen them do that when they play. They're just so happy to be a player. So yeah, more on that later, though. Hello, Duke. Good morning. And Otaka. Hello, hello. Otaka, I have D&D on Saturdays, too. What a coincidence. We're in the same campaign. Oh, goodness. But yeah, hello, welcome in. I'm going to sip my hot chocolate as people roll in. I really want to tell you all about this thing on the screen right now, but then people are going to miss it and I'll have to just explain it twice. So we're going to just hang out for a bit. I'm going to sip my hot chocolate. I encourage you to grab a drink or a snack if you can. If you're just at work, I don't know. Go to the water cooler, is that a thing? Anyway. All I got was marshmallow. It's so freaking hot. Ha! Okay, we're gonna wait on that. Well, if I can't talk about this thing I'm so excited about, I don't know what to talk about. Oh, DMing, I guess. I don't know what my first campaign is going to be about. I think that fantastic players and fantastic DMs aren't even always a good fit for each other because everyone has fun differently. So I'm really just thinking about like the kind of campaign that I would want to run or even one shot. I am a more serious person, so not like don't have fun, but like I don't want goofballs playing goofball characters. I feel like it'd be a good combination to have like maybe a more serious person playing goofball or vice versa. I'm not sure. Honestly, most people I've played with have been pretty awesome. There's only a couple people where I'm like, oh, I'd hate to DM for them. Rules lawyers. Oh gosh, I will just yeet you out of existence. But I think it's gonna be a problem. I'm just so excited. I think it's less on the preparing for what could go wrong and just like, finally DMing my own games. And you betcha I'm gonna use my own minis and stuff. Even though it's on Roll20, I can make any model I have into a token. I'm gonna. It's gonna be fun. Alrighty, have a pretty good warm up here. Let's talk about this cool thing. I'll talk about it now, what I have on the screen, and then I'll talk about it again right before the stream ends. Alright, what is this? This is my first build your own kit in ZBrush. So I made this beautiful flower archway this morning. It's actually a concept that my husband thought of. And I was like, how cool if I took all the pieces for this and saved them so that you guys can also play with them. So I'm going to switch my screen really quick so you can see my entire ZBrush screen and we can talk about it. Okay. Oh, that my key capture's in a funny spot. Anyway, so if you look over here, I have this folder and I have all of the pieces. There we go. They're going to be big in the background. All of the pieces that I used to build this. Even the archway I have broken into multiple pieces so you can break it down into whatever you want. I also have the little things like the butterfly, all the assorted mushrooms, and these aren't deformed yet to the arch I made, so you can really customize them to whatever you want. I have individual flowers, individual leaves, all that kind of good stuff. Let me go ahead and clear this. So that's all the building assets, but then I also have the exact thing of what I made, which is this. You can hide the vine lock, and at any point if you hold Shift F, you can look at all the pieces and how they're broken up. So if you hold Command Shift click, you can isolate these even further. And I haven't dynameshed anything. So if you go to auto groups, you can break these down even further. It even has broken down to the individual petals. So you can make like a big mutant flower if you wanted to. Here are the mushrooms, the vines, even the individual flowers. So I really made sure it's as customizable as possible. The only thing that's not very customizable is this archway that you see outside of the building kit. It's Dynameshed into one piece, just so it's not gigantic. But I have this exact thing duplicated in the building kit right here. I'm aggressively circling it. And you can see it's those individual pieces. And if you don't like that archway, build your own. I left all of the little stylized rocks and crystal pieces right here as well. But yes, I want to give you guys a close-up of that, because I'm super proud of it and I think it looks gorgeous. This is available now to my students, and you can check this out in our Discord. If you hop over down here to 3D modeling right at the top, M3DM Student Library, and that link right there will give you access. So yes, here's what that looks like in the folder. It is a Z tool, Magic Forest Gateway. And then what's really cool is I have all of my stream stuff in here anyway. So you can see all those different Z tools for things I do on stream. I share those with students as well. But this kit is tailored for y'all to enjoy. So yes, I think you guys are gonna have a blast with this. Hello Paint, I'm not sure if you caught all of that, but I got my first build your own kit, and it's already in there if you want to download it and start playing with it. Make your own enchanted flower archway. If you're a student and you're in our Discord and you don't have the role M3DM Mentorship student, make sure you complain or ping me. And if you're interested in becoming a student, I have a link in the chat right now for that. It is $1 a day. You're not gonna find a better deal, and I love to teach, and it's just a fun time. If you can make the streams especially, that is the way. Alrighty, let's go ahead and roll into today's stream. And then Duke says, are you gonna record the one shot? Oh, I didn't plan to. Oh, I think I'd be so shy to record my first D&D game ever. It didn't even occur to me you guys would want to watch that. I'll think about that. All right. What are we making today? Today we are making this beautiful medieval kind of Gothic armor. I'm very excited about this. I'm going to be able to practice this new technique that I've been practicing more, which essentially it's mask and extract to create assets, but with thickness, and it's sculpting, not modeling, stuff like this, to get more of that organic secondary form deliciousness. Because I've gotten really good at just making basic assets, and they're coming out a little Lego, which is okay. But I think it's time to level up. Granted, I always think that. So yeah, that's what we're working on today. Aloha says, first M3DM playset, and it has pretty flowers. Of course it does. It was Aloha's idea to do these playsets originally, so I'm happy to be doing that. Empress is here. Hello, hello. I'm going to be in and out today. I hope we're doing well. We sure are. Thanks for stopping by the TAVERB. Alrighty, let's break down this armor. Oh, I never edited my description on here of what pieces are being made. Let me go ahead and do that. All right. It's similar. It's going to have a fitted bodice, long skirt, and just generally pointy armor. That is going to be on the menu today. Let's make this a little bit smaller, but it can still live right here. I like that. And then I'm going to do a little draw over here to talk about what pieces we are going to tackle. All right, the first thing we're going to tackle is this really gorgeous bodice. And something that you should look at is it doesn't make this V shape just in the front. It also flows seamlessly into what would normally be separate armor, like hip tassets. In fact, by doing this, I kind of miss, it actually comes down right here too. So yeah, right now I'm just kind of looking at the shape. I like to trace it the first time when I'm planning it because it helps me see how it's constructed. Okay. Yeah. that makes a lot of sense. Though I did kind of just make up the top on how that fits. So let me do a better draw over here. You can kind of see what we're working with. Yeah, it's kind of like a halter top almost. All right, I feel like I have a better idea of what that's going to be. Excellent. Well, without further ado, let's get this bodice blocked out, shall we? Empress says, whatever constructed that model or armor does not think about the wearer needing to breathe or move. Honestly, I think that's pretty spot on because it's giving vampire vibes and they're pretty much undead. The goal is to look fabulous, darling. And then Casey's here. Hello, hello. Girls wearing this thing will get 0 hugs. Maybe that's why it appealed to me so much. Fun fact, I hate being touched. I hate hugs. Oh, goodness. All right, let's make the thing. I'm gonna reshape the body a little bit because these lats are gigantic. So we're gonna go to the back of the model here and just tuck those in. Lats are this muscle right here. And then your traps are on top. Lats and traps. All right, make that a little bit smaller. And then we're gonna give her a slightly taller torso. There we go, just a touch. Have a really dramatic shape here. I'm looking forward to it. All of my characters have really short torsos, and that's just me projecting because I have no torso and long legs, and just no torso. But for this, especially, it'd be nice if we had that beautiful elongated torso to show off this bodice that we're about to create together. All right, are you ready, kids? Let's go. First thing I'm gonna do is shift up so I can see the frame, and then using the mask lasso brush, I'm gonna hold down Command and we're gonna paint on the shape of this bodice. Very similar to how I just drew over it. It's form fit, so I don't mind that I kind of just painted on top of it. I'm gonna invert the mask with Command and tap. And now I'll use my mask pen to kind of further refine the shape. It does not need to be perfect, not even close. I just don't want it grabbing like her armpits too much. I like to avoid armpits and elbows and knees and really anything that bends. I like to make sure I scoop my meshes away from it. Makes it easier to pose later. All right, and then once I like the shape, it's good enough, we'll go ahead and go to extract and then accept. This is the method that I am using to construct this. I don't have a lot of my UI showing because it's not that important. What's important is the workflow. How you get there is really up to you. If you want, like for example, I use dynamic subdiv to add thickness. You can use panel loops. You can use ZModeler brush. It's up to you. My streams used to be much more technique focused, and then I was just teaching people to do a bunch of stuff the way I do it, and I'm like, we're losing some of the fun. Find your own little methods and stuff because there's rarely a single correct way. And the more little techniques that you learn, the better you'll get. All right, now that I have this piece here, I'm gonna hide the body because I really wanna form this to be kind of dramatic. The big thing about making fitted bodices look nice is you wanna have this rib cage bump and this belly bump. Otherwise, if you just do this and you're like, all right, she's snatched. No, it doesn't look good. It's kind of the tendency, but what makes it look good is seeing that anatomy, you know, accentuated. And by anatomy, I don't just mean boobs. I mean like truly like believing that there is a body under this. There we go. Do you have any questions so far? Empress says, oh, okay, I can see the vampire angle. Absolutely. I love drinking hot chocolate, but it does give me a marshmallow mustache on stream, and that's not really the look I'm going for. Okay. So it looks like I really should have made the collar part of it. I can make this a separate piece, or I can redo this. I'm gonna make it a separate piece because again, posing and bending, I really want that to be separate. And Duke says, a lot of times the snatch figure is less the shape and more of a color and lines illusion. This is so true, and that's why you have no excuse to sculpt on all different kinds of body types. You can always get that look. Hello, Mike the Yeti is back. Hello, hello, welcome in. What a fun Friday already. All right, this is looking pretty close. And whenever you want that like fuller shape, you know, don't take away from the waist, add to the hips. Think add, not subtract. Which is counterintuitive. When you think snatched, you're like, oh, remove, remove, remove. No, 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 no. Add. Work out. Don't starve yourself. All right, I don't want to get too fussy with that. And then you can see on the body here, I've taken away some volume, but just like a little bit of volume, which is fine because form-fit garments like this will kind of push stuff around, kind of like Spanx. You just want to make sure you're not pushing through bones. All right, I'm pretty happy with that piece here. And a reminder, all of the pieces I construct here today will also be shared with students. All right, let's get that. It's kind of like a purplish dark color. I want to make sure it's easy for you guys to see though. This is a problem I still have not solved yet. It would be cool if we had something that was kind of shiny too. I like choosing materials down here because then I can affect it with lighting. The ones up here that are called matte caps, like this different box, they have shadows baked in, which can be nice if I don't want to worry about that, but it gives me a lot less control. I'm going to play with the material for a bit here because it makes me happy, not because it affects the model or the print in any way. You can get a preview if you just hover. Some of these are really fun. I can't imagine working on that, seeing that the entire time. That would be a little tiring. Ooh, I like this, the Z metal. Ooh, that is nice. Kind of dramatic too. My secondary light is not doing very much heavy lifting. Ooh, it's like locked into place. I didn't know that was a thing. No matter. I'll just make a new light. You can see I'm picking kind of this warm color here, but in this instance, I might go for this purple. So instead of coloring the subtool, I'll use the lighting to do that instead. I don't recommend doing that technique generally, but it works for me because, again, I'm just doing this for aesthetics. There we go. I'm happy with that. Bodice is blocked out, so we'll move right along. I like to get lots of stuff blocked out. So what is the piece I'm going to work on next? The first thing I did was this bodice, and I pretty much grabbed that shape, and it wasn't too hard. So next, I think I'm going to focus on the skirt. And that's pretty easy. That's actually going to fit up here. Yeah, I'm thinking how high I want that to go. Because even though you're not going to see it, you still want it to make sense. And if you make your garments make sense, you can reuse them a lot. So that's the kind of shape we're going to make right now. All right, let's do it. We're going to hide the bodice, go back to the body, shift up so I can see it, and then use our masking brush into a little rectangle here. I'm going to inflate after I extract, mask the bottom, use my gizmo to stretch it straight down, and just make it a touch larger. You can see the topology is really weird. We have a belly button and then this is all stretched. So to fix that, I'll just do ZBrush by same. We're gonna do it again because we still got some funniness going on. All right, that's pretty even. I'll use a move brush to kind of gently nudge things into place because usually her butt is out. Yep, there it is. Just out. I'm also going to adjust the pose of the model a little bit. To do that, I'm just simply masking. And I'm just gonna kind of nudge her legs in just a little bit. So she's standing more straight. I would like the skirt to touch the ground and not show her little toes. That is odd. Again, ZBrush by same. We have a little topology weirdness going on right here. Instead of fighting it, this is what I like to do. Just stretch it straight down, take this little funny bit, and then delete hidden, and ZBrush by same again. I find that tends to do a better job. I'll turn on transparency to trim this correctly, and then again, polygroup, and then mask. There we go. Again, the technique doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to do to move stuff around and hide pieces and delete, that's fine. Or you can just do it right the first time. It's really up to you. I'm a big fan of this long skirt because I don't have to sculpt shoes. Very nice. All right, skirt looks good. Here are our two pieces. And then we're gonna kind of adjust the way that they layer without losing the silhouette. All right, very nice. I would like to make these different colors just so it's a little easier for you guys to see. Gonna make this bodice a touch darker. I'm holding spacebar to get this menu up. And we're gonna go to the purple side here, so everything's tinted just a little purple. I also could go on the bluer side. Either is fine. We will do blue. I feel like there's better contrast with the background. Gorgeous. Time to check in with the chat. Mike said, what do you think of the blood dragon I requested? I think it sounds like a fantastic pain in the ass. It's going to be amazing and very difficult. Two of my favorite kinds of things in a request. I read that and I was like, oh my gosh. And then the art side of me was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be awesome. Aloha. Hello, Mia. It's Aloha's PR team here. Just getting in touch to let you know that any and all blame for the labeling on your start screen graphic is no longer Aloha's fault. Thank you. What? It's exactly your fault. Oh, goodness. Am I working on a request? Nope, I'm just picking things I want to make. Empress says, blocking out has become one of my favorite parts of sitting down to create. That makes me so happy because that's all of the work. That's the equivalent of writing a rough draft for your book, honestly. Although arguably the editing is even more work. But anyway. Monkey is here. Greetings, humans. Welcome in, Monkey. Hello, hello. Duke says, but what about the tactical stiletto heels that undoubtedly should go with the fit, providing sure-footedness for the upcoming sword fight? I love me some tactical stilettos. You know, it's funny because when the first bit of backlash and really talking about how booby armor is so unfair and that's our only option and women want realistic, just more options. I think most women, when we complain about ridiculous fits and high heels and for adventurers and booby armor, it's not that we don't want those options at all. It's that we also want practical options. They're not exclusionary. I love me a booby armor, bikini, chainmail option, and tactical stilettos. I really do. I just am mad when that's my only option. I also love that you call them tactical stilettos. I'm gonna start saying that now. That's wonderful. Mike says, if you want, you can do the Blood Dragon commission on stream. I don't mind. Request. I know I'm being picky, but I don't do commissions. There are no takes backs. You guys give me inspiration and I do whatever I want with it. I happen to follow your request very carefully, so it feels like a commission. But it's only because your ideas are really good. If they sucked, believe me, I would edit them. And yeah, I probably will do it on stream. Maybe bits and pieces. We'll see. Exactly, Duke. Exactly. Ember says, what Mia said. I love my combat heels and skirt. Sometimes a girl wants something a little more stable. Exactly. It's an and situation, not an or situation. That's one of my favorite games is Monster Hunter. I mean Fashion Hunter. And because they have both. They definitely have like some skimpy armor sets, but they also have like full head to toe armor. You can't even see anything. It's great. All right, I've enjoyed my hot chocolate break. Back to it. What are we blocking out next? We're making some rapid progress today. If anyone here is new and shy and wants to learn 3D, please ask questions. It's not like a tutorial stream, but kind of. I'm happy to teach. I think the next thing I'm going to do are these van braces. I really recommend if you're starting out to do exactly what I'm doing and force yourself to trace the shape. Because since I've done this, I really can respect the amount of like the taper we have here. And it's just a cylinder. It's literally just a cylinder, and then we happen to have this little triangle part that sticks on top. But keep it simple. All right, let's get to it. Again, Shift F on the body, using my mask lasso brush. And I am gonna do this without symmetry because I don't know, I feel like when I use a 3D gizmo with symmetry, it fights me and it's annoying. So I like to do stuff like this without symmetry when there's two meshes that I'd like. All right, that already is pretty darn close to the shape. We're gonna zero mesh by same, not half, because I don't want it even more low poly. Though that did go a little denser than I wanted. Zero mesh by half. Okay. All right, that looks quite good. Let's kind of see where that fits. I'm doing something that when I work personally, I never do this. This being that, see how I'm pulling this over the hand? That means I'm going over the wrist joint. I don't actually do that when I'm sculpting, when I'm getting ready to pose. I always will scoot this back because if it's on top and I have the character bend, it just, well, if it's metal, you know what I mean? It will clip through. So I like to have them kind of short and then make them longer after the model is finished. But this is a fashion stream, so I just want it to look good. ZBrush says, we're not gonna have it look good. It's gonna look like nothing. That's fine. This is why I quick save every 3 minutes. Mike said, lol, sorry, meant to say request. I know you did. I'm just a stickler, and I know that. All right, back to my quick saves, and here we go. Oh no, we lost a whole 2 minutes of progress. Not a problem. We're gonna use our mask lasso brush. Go to subtool, extract, accept. You have this little piece, and then you just zero mesh by half. Just like that. Obviously, I've done this thousands of times. So if anything is too fast, because it probably is, and you're actually trying to follow along for some godforsaken reason, let me know. I've had students try to follow my streams one for one before. It never goes well. It's good to learn from, but maybe not to follow. One for one. Okay, I want this shape right here. There we go. And notice the subtleties here. Whenever you're creating a curve, you need to know whether it's concave or convex. What does that mean? Concave, like a cave. Convex, like a cup. And technically it's based on your perspective, how you're looking at it, whether you're upside down, but whatever. Just like looking at this, that is convex, not concave. This little curve right here. So I want to see right now, I have it so it's bending the other way. Little things like this are so important to keep track of because look how much sleeker that looks than that. Silhouette is very, very sensitive. But once you see it as a tool and not just some finicky thing that you have to fight, you improve a lot and your designs get sharper. And this doesn't just go for 3D, it also goes for 2D. All right, I'm happy with that shape. I'm gonna call this a van brace. Mirror and weld. Beautiful, and we'll continue. I might go ahead and block out these sleeves, and I'm not gonna do a draw over for that because you guys, sleeves are arm shaped. I will do these in symmetry because they're quite simple. And this will just be a moment for me to show you guys how to do some little fabric folds later on in the stream. Spoiler alert, I just use the standard brush. That's it. It's very simple. Again, if I'm gonna have material around areas like armpits, elbows, things that bend, I prefer for it to be cloth for obvious reasons. It's a lot easier to sculpt fixes on, and it's meant to look a little deformed. There we are. I'm gonna have the sleeves the same color as the skirt, just to kind of bring together that they're both cloth. Excellent, that was quite simple. I like it. Up next, we have a challenge. If my students are watching and you guys aren't too busy, I would appreciate, look up and think, how would you tackle this? So we have this crazy spiky piece. And if you look at it like that, you're gonna go insane. The first thing you need to do is just look at the shape. So I'm just gonna trace the shape. Okay. Do I have to have this bar on top? Oh, that's what I took a screenshot of. Well, no wonder it looks stupid. I covered up half my image. Here we go. Let me re-screenshot my screenshot. There we are. I was wondering why I was doing that. I was like, usually this goes away. And I might as well take up a little more real estate here on my own stream. There we go. Beautiful. Now you guys can really see. So yes, the shape of this is that. And you could argue you also have this like circle piece, but it's so flush. Meh. That's the shape I'm going to create initially. How am I going to handle all of the spikes on it afterwards? I don't really know. I think what I'm going to do is just make like a row of spikes, just one, and then I'm going to take that row of spikes and then just duplicate, duplicate, duplicate all the way down. But that's a secondary form. We don't care about that. We just care about block. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pay attention to how long it is though. Here is the elbow, so we know we are a little bit of a gap from the elbow, which is great. It means it won't get in the way of bending. Any questions? Duke mentions, in the picture, it looks like the cup, chest plate, and corset may be 3 separate pieces. I agree. I think this is AI generated glop, so it's kind of whatever you want it to be. These looks, I mean, they're sewn on. I think this is separate. This is continuous, all of that. It's sewn in. If I was gonna construct it, that's how I'd do it anyway. If I get you, this kind of looks like a separate piece right here. Anyway, doesn't affect the 3D construction. All right, and we continue. Isolating the body, clearing the mask we had before. And again, no symmetry. I'm gonna work on the right side of her body for once. Because her shoulder is up, it's going to make this a little tricky too. It's gonna lay weirdly. I'm gonna change the body and the pose even more to be similar to this, so it's not so difficult for me to shape. And to do that, we're gonna use Transpose Master. Z plugin, Transpose Master, T pose mesh. Just think of the left button as start and the right someone next to it is end. All right, so now we have all as one piece. Gonna turn on symmetry and we are going to bend these arms down. All I do is mask, make sure I position the gizmo right at the shoulder joint here and just kind of bring it down. Excellent. Yep. After we're done with the changes, we'll do a T-pose, up T, and it'll spit it back out. So what was the point of that operation? So I have a bunch of subtools. Let me show you. I got a subtool over here for everything. We got the bodice, the skirt, band brace, and then I forgot to name the sleeves. There we go. In order, I can't mask across multiple subtools at a time unless they are one subtool. So see this? This is the one I'm working on, and I got multiple pieces. This is my transpose master one. It's only one. That allows me to mask across everything. So I can do stuff like this. However, I tried the same thing in here. It doesn't work. It's only gonna mask. Let me do the body so it's easier to see. It's only gonna mask the subtool that's selected, and that's it. So it's not very helpful for posing. And we're back. Now let's tackle that shoulder piece. It's quite large. Let's see where it fits on the chest. It's actually very close to the armpit. So I'm gonna take my mask pen and kind of scoot it in there a little bit. And then same as always, mask and extract, mask and extract. Empress says, Transpose Master is a lifesaver if your model gets off center. Absolutely it is, because you can jump into Transpose Master and then deformation, unify, which will put your mesh right in the center. Right now I'm just using the move brush. There we go. I'm getting this shaped just how I want it. A trick that I always forget about is using mirror and weld across the Z axis. However, by default, it's in the center. So what you want to do is enable local symmetry. That's located under the transform menu right here. So now I do mirror and weld. Check it out. Looks a little nicer. And I can scoot this backwards to fit the model, mirror and weld, and it's going to stay right here. Just make sure if you're going to work on it across multiple axes that you do enable that. So like right here, symmetry, I only have X selected. I'm gonna want Z selected too. Polish by features, I use that a lot. Ooh, interesting, I had mirror and weld across the X axis on only one mesh, so I have this weird shape. What I meant to do is this. See how it's not so much like the specific little techniques that I'm using. You have to understand why you are doing things. I know, it's always the pesky why. All right, I don't want that cutting into her boob too much, so I need to have this kind of small curve right here. And now I'll do mirror and weld across the x-axis without local symmetry turned on. Oh, stop fighting me. There we go. All right, we have those pauldrons blocked out. Up next, let's create the collar. I do see that the top of the bodice is kind of coming away from the body, and it really needs to be form fit for this to work. So I'm gonna grab my move brush and just really tuck that in close to the body. All right, to create this, we're going to mask. It's a very high collar. It kind of reminds me of like a really dramatic throat tattoo. It's just kind of like a soothing process. You mask your shape, you extract, and then you fit to the mesh. This is going to be on top of the bodice. It's very important to get that pointed shape. I'm gonna use polish by features to make sure it's fitting. We'll see. I do have a triangle here that I don't like, so I'll use ZBrush and same. That usually works just fine. If you get errors like that, like, oh, it timed out or some nonsense, it just means it's probably not mirror and welded, or you have a really weird piece of topology somewhere. You can always mirror and weld, or sorry, ZBrush without symmetry turned on, and that tends to make it happier. And then you can mirror and weld after that, and it will act like everything is good again. Very nice. That's looking very clean. I love how high this comes up in the back. Oh, it's so dramatic. Beautiful. Excellent. There we are. I think we have all the pieces now except for her gloves. Gloves can be easier than you think. First thing I'm going to do is use auto groups on this base mesh because the fingernails are actually separate pieces, which isn't helpful for us right now. I don't want to get rid of her eyeballs though. There we go. All right, now that I've gotten rid of her fingernails, I can mask and extract from her hands. What really makes something look like gloves is simply adding the seams along your fingers and fabric folds. I'm going to inflate these just a touch. And honestly, that's good enough. All right, we have the block out complete. This is where the real fun starts. This is where the magic and details and secondary forms come in. I'm very excited for it. Anyone have any questions so far? Or are you guys just kind of hanging out, having a good old time over there? I'm gonna take a little hot chocolate break before I start the next stage. I'm actually going to take a quick bathroom break, then I'll be back. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Alright, I am back. I see Duke and Empress are just along for the ride. 10-4. Let's continue. Oh, my music stopped. Oh no, it just happened to pick him up right when the song was changing. And we continue. So I look at this and I'm like, what's getting me the most excited? It's this kind of like spiderweb texture on the bodice. Let's make it larger so you guys can see it. This spiderweb-like texture and also these little fabric folds because I know those are really easy for me. So I'm gonna start with that because Go for the win. Go for the easy win when you first start. Like the next stage. Your primary forms, just doing anything is kind of breaking the ice. But for your secondary forms, you can feel a little bit of resistance. If you're like, ooh, am I ready for this? Just do something you know you can nail. And if you're a brand new beginner and it's going to be bad regardless, awesome. You're just in the create bad stage. Make lots of bad art and have fun. Revel in that. All right, so for the skirt, I'm going to isolate it with solo. Close holes. I'm going to subdivide a few times. And then I'm going to come with a standard brush and just get these tiny little fabric folds. Let's make this even larger because I can really have the reference large when I'm working on simple stuff like this. Again, we're just working on this. I've subdivided to about 150,000 points. I'm going to have symmetry turned on. And the first few times you see me try to create a fabric fold, you'll see I do a bunch of strokes and then just immediately erase them. Not just because I'm seeing how the brush is behaving. I increased the strength there a little bit. I'm also going to enable lazy mouse with the radius around 20, just to kind of stabilize my own strokes. I like it. Now, something you shouldn't do is just come through here and make it all identical. It does look goodish, but really look at the reference. You can see it's actually gathered a bit more at these 2 points, kind of like on the front of her pelvis. So I'll use this as a guideline. I'll have a slightly larger fold right here. And I'll press 1 on my keyboard to repeat any strokes that I like. One of the big things about successful fabric folds is removing material as well. So important. Oh, Empress says, so question here. If I wanted to break this down for someone who could breathe, what are the key parts? The hips, diaphragm, and the neck. So mostly I think your joke is funny. There's nothing really wrong about this. If you want, you could separate this into a tacet. That's fine. And then put seams on the sides of the bodice here. Otherwise, a fitted leather corset isn't really that unusual, actually. This would be soft enough to bend. So, yes. There we go. When we get to the center line, turn off symmetry. I'm going to carve out that little section here. And now come in with a really small brush size. There we go. And then you really want to be confident and like continuous with these strokes, otherwise things can get a little lumpy. So just take your time. All right, I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I'm going to bring up my gizmo, hold down Command, and click and drag to flatten the bottom of it. Beautiful. Oh, I like that. Perfect. That's exactly how I wanted this to look. And then the rest of it isn't quite as important, the sides, so I'll just go in with a kind of samey fabric fold. And just kind of layer this in. I made the draw size a touch bigger as I get to the back. Turning off symmetry once I'm at that center line. And a little swoosh to the side right there. And there we go, that is the detailed skirt. Empress, oh, it's leather. That's my fault. I assumed it was metal. That would be difficult if it was metal. Yeah, I looked at this and I kind of thought about like the armor in the Witcher Netflix edition for the Nilfgaardians. It kind of reminded me of that. All right, and then these details right here, it looks like they're beads. I'm gonna use chain instead. I have a spiked chain, that'd be perfect for this. Whenever I'm crossing the center line with a curved brush, I also like to turn off symmetry. Once you have the curved brush drawn on, you can adjust the size of it on the fly. All right, that's about the size that I want. I'll use my move brush at a pretty large size and intensity when I move it around. Otherwise, if you do a bunch of tiny little adjustments, it ends up looking kind of wobbly. I'm gonna inflate that just a little bit to help with 3D printing. Gorgeous. I'm gonna duplicate this and see if I can place a few of them. Oh yeah, that looks nice. And then last but not least, I think there's a few that kind of just trail on the sides. So let's add those in too. Ooh, I like it. Gorgeous. I can probably improve it later by breaking symmetry a bit more, but for now, I'm happy with it. I'm gonna lower the subdivision levels on the skirt and see if I can get a little bit more of a flare here. I could use taper. I'm not even sure if I want to move the skirt around at all or kick it out. So I'm gonna use my move brush from the bottom just to see if I even want that look. I did, just a tiny bit. Very good. All right, let's just keep working from the bottom up. The next stage is the entire bodice. No biggie. So for this, what I'm going to do is ZBrush by same, because I need some more polys right here. I really need this as even as possible, just because the whole thing gets a ton of detail. This is really common when you ZBrush and there's like a tail right here, it will just destroy it. You've got two options. You can ZBrush without symmetry, it tends to be a little happier and mirror and weld, or you can use group loops, and that also tends to make it a little bit happier. Now let's see if I ZBrush, I'll probably keep it. Oh, it still didn't keep it. Oh, it's just mad. Great, then I'll show you how to do the group loops method. Let's pop over to teach mode. All right, come over here to geometry. And then a button I always forget, edge loop, there we go. Click on group loops. So if you zoom in, you'll see, let's add some loops right here. It does get a little funny right here. So I'll polish by features. And now with group loops being on there, it kind of gives a little bit more structure. So if I ZBrush by same, it'll make it a little happier usually. I do see that it's kind of clipping through the back right here too. So I'm going to smooth it out with my min connected point set to 1. I can also mask it and polish by features. So I'm flipping to the back without double turned on because I can see we have this geometry kind of flipping on itself, and that's why it's struggling right now. As fun as it is to make fun of ZBrush and just be mad when it doesn't do exactly what you want it to do, knowing what it likes and doesn't like is the way to go. All right. I'm going to increase adaptive size and see if that helps. Man, it really doesn't like it. This is the first time I haven't had group loops fix that problem. What if I just do it again? What if we just group the group loops? There we go. Took us a bit, but we got there. You just gotta keep at it. All right, now that we have this beautiful shape all blocked out, let's refine it a little bit more. Because in the reference, these panels look like they're actually a bit longer than what I have. And this is like just past the crotch. Let's see, her pelvis would end here. These are a bit more rounded. Excellent. I'm gonna use Mass Lasso to adjust this shape even further and really push it off her hips. Oh, what a strong, fun silhouette. Oh, it's gonna look gorgeous when it's all detailed. Oh, my gal's here. Hello, hello. What you doing? Making cool stuff. ZBrush was upset about that fold, but we powered through, didn't we? Oh, and Royce is back. Hello, hello. Royce said, I hit the like button. It felt good. Thank you for supporting the stream. Oh, we're still in teach mode. My bad. Here's my face. Hello, hello. All right. I'm pretty happy with this. I think we're ready to subdivide a bunch and then add all these like delicious details and stuff. And then to do that, again, I like to use dynamic subdiv, but you don't have to. You can absolutely use a Z brush or even using panel loops, which is very similar to what I just did with group loops, except it extrudes thickness instead of just changing the topology. Look at that little funny, what are you doing? What is that? Oh, that makes me laugh. ZBrush is so mad about something right here. Interesting, maybe that's what's causing the problem. Let's zoom on in. Let's see what the heck's going on right here. I'm intrigued. Ah, see, yes, we have part of the mesh which is flipped on the other side. Okay. I knew something weird was going on. I just couldn't figure out what. No matter. Check it out, Empress. I did ZRemesh and same, and it worked. Finally. There we go. Now I do dynamic subdiv, it's going to be beautiful and smooth. Yup. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. I'm going to click apply. And this is where the real fun starts. So before I click apply, I'm actually going to change something really quick. I'm going to go in here with my ZBrush and I'm going to crease the edges. There we go. I can use that later to then add trim to it, like with a single button click. You'll see, it'll be really cool. I don't even know if I want to do that, but if I don't do it now, I can't do it later. So I might as well do it now, just in case. Give yourself options. All right, I'm gonna save a copy of this and call it low res. And then I'll have a high res version. That way I'll share with my students after the fact. And if you guys kind of want to play around with this and make your own versions, you absolutely can. The other pieces I'm confident most of my students can make themselves, but the bodice can be a little complicated. So I would love if you guys had different variations for that to play with. There we go. Sweet. So we'll just push that one down here. I'll make a new folder called low res assets. So you guys can grab that. There we go. Look at me being so organized for once. Proud of me. Hot chocolate break. I think a lot of this is just gonna be hand sculpting. Kind of excited and kind of nervous. Well, let's do it. I subdivided a bunch of times. do think adding that little bit of trim first would be smartest. Let's do that. I'm gonna get a stroke, frame mesh, which I always forget where it is. There it is, frame functions. And then just using curve tube. Turn off symmetry, otherwise you can get all kinds of funny business happening. And then you're gonna need to make sure that the size is quite small. Oh, I have dynamic turned on, that's why it's being ridiculous. There we go. And split mask points. Now I have that beautiful trim done with a single button click. That is the beauty of using curved brushes. All right, and then for this, I'm gonna use one of my favorite brushes, which is Hidden and Lightbox. Aloha's like, Z-Sketch? Not quite for this one. You could. Yeah, for the lines, no, I hear you. Aloha just loves Z-Sketch. I think it's gonna be easier just to use this brush. Look how close that is already. I love the enthusiasm though. This slash brush is just so powerful. It does so much of the heavy lifting for you. Empress says, oh Mia, another question. If I wanted to build up forms on my hands, I would use the clay or clay tubes brush. You absolutely could. Just be really careful because hands are so small. You'll want to have back face masked on. Aloha's being so dramatic in our Discord right now. Goodbye, Aloha. And then Sigdal asks, what program are you using for reference? Is it PureUp? No, I don't like using PureUp actually. This is Shotr, S-H-O-T-R. I like it because it actually stays on top of my screen. I can just pin it into place. All right, how do I want to construct this? I'm not worried about this ornamentation quite yet. I'm more interested in how we're gonna get all of this like spidering effect. I'm gonna work, I think, from the top down because this bodice is gonna be really important. Do I want the curve on the outside or the inside? From that direction. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna isolate this. Try to get this swoop in one side. I'm gonna turn off perspective so I can see a little bit more of the mesh. And I'm gonna lower the intensity as well. These need to be a little closer together. Perfect. And then I can use my Move topological brush to further refine this shape. You don't have to do a perfect job the first time. Just good enough. There we go. And we'll continue. And then this comes down to this beautiful V shape right here. I think that will come off the side. Yes. And I can use this kind of as a sketch to then build up more of these shapes, which is really kind of a fun thing. I don't do that very often. It's definitely a more is more kind of design. My favorite. All right, got some pieces blocked out here. Let's keep going. No eating resin. We are not eating resin. There we go. Ooh, there's like this really cool lattice work detail right here. To do that, I'm going to use my mask lasso brush just so I don't ruin this beautiful edge we just created. There we are. I want to be as close to the edge as possible. Perfect. Now let's continue. There we go. And we continue. Aloha has gone to the Discord and created a ridiculous face from the boob armor. Aloha's feeling good today. It's pumpkin spice resin season. No eating resin. Good Lord. Increases the intensity of this even a bit more because, gosh, make some really fun shapes with this. This is gonna grab paint so well when 3D printed, even at 28mm. I am baffled that 3D printers just keep getting better too. Gorgeous. Using this brush kind of feels like using washes when you're painting minis. It kind of feels like talent in a brush. I know I'm doing more artistry than that, but that's just how it feels. Again, this is the slash brush. It's kind of hidden. It's in Lightbox. It's not in your normal brush palette right here. And there's a couple slash brushes. This is specifically slash 2. Not 1 or 3 nonsense. There we go. Oh my gosh, this is so detailed, looking crazy. Oh, I love it. I love it. Aloha, what? Why is this brush so cool? Right? I told you. Empress says, seeing you do this makes me feel like I'm not pushing my polys enough. Still feels like I'm in blob armor territory. Absolutely. And that's a great observation to have. Yes, you are. Push it more. And it's one of those things where it's like, you have to have that realization. And you just had it. I love it. Just an easy way to start improving that is just take your Z intensity and just double it. At any given time, just double it. Aloha. Gimme the brush. Yes, it is comma for Lightbox. Go to brush. And it's right here, slash. Double click on that baby, and there is slash 2 in all of its glory. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I'm having so much fun. Are there any questions about how I block this out? Is anyone feeling confused? Or like they want to replicate this, but they're not sure how? Because now is the time to ask. Oh, Lois says, ooh, look at me. I'm Mia and I have /1 and 2 and don't need ZSketch. Listen, Slash cannot do what ZSketch does, but it can do other things. Like if I wanted to create viscera and dangly intestines or webbed fingers, ZSketch. Miguel says, I'm confused. That's because I don't use ZBrush. Well, you understand brushes. This, I know you understand this. ZSketch is weird though and something else, and that's fair. We don't need to talk about ZSketch. ZSketch is witchcraft. It's true. We're gonna move right along to the top here of this. And crease. Stroke, frame. I guess I don't need to hide the entire mesh to do that. I also don't need this piece here. I'll leave it anyway. Maybe one of my students will want it for some reason. There we go. Grab this. Smooth, thickness, offset. Beautiful. And we have a piece. Just like that. And back to our delicious detailing. Trying to decide which. So slash is directional. If I go from left to right, it looks like this. If I go from right to left, it looks like this. Do you see how the edge flipped? Again, up and down. Here's these lines. Here's these lines. You can flip which side the raised edge is on. So if I go on the right side, it looks like this. And if I go on the left side, it looks like this. And if anyone's like, it's the same picture, they're different. They're just flipped. Empress says ZSketch? You have seen this before. It's how I did the hand goop stuff. Long time ago. Now everyone's like, what's ZSketch? I'm like, no, we're not doing ZSketch. Aloha. Blame Aloha. That's what I do. Kind of like that spider web like pattern here. You take this collar and just scoot you out of the way. Go away. Don't need you here. Scoot, scoot, scoot. I'm so glad that I do these kinds of streams now, because again, I have a huge asset library and like there's a lot of these pieces I can just reuse infinitely, but it's so fun to just be slow, you know? Just have fun creating these pieces. Yeah, I can reuse them for other models, and I will. But it's definitely more about just like feeding that art soul. Beautiful. My gosh, this is looking so detailed. Probably because it is, but still. All right, we're gonna do the sleeves really quick because they're really quick. I'm just gonna do close holes, subdivide a bunch of times, and then grab my standard brush. We're gonna create some tension folds here. I guess compression folds. Same. And again, I always take a little bit of time seeing how I want my brush to behave, and then once I'm like, ah, yes, that's the brush and that's the settings I want, then I just go crazy. I don't care that the edges are kind of rough looking. I can just blend those later. All right, there we go. And again, these are really tight, so I don't mind that they're really clustered together. Smooth the edges, what I talked about earlier, doing that little bit of cleanup. If it's being stubborn, just lower your subdivision level. And now I'm going through with kind of like some softer, larger fabric folds, just to kind of make it look a little more irregular and more like cloth. It's definitely more on like the stiffer leather side. I like it. It suits the model. Perfect. Now I got a different texture here. It kind of breaks things up, you know? Oh, Foxy's here. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Welcome back to the tavern. Your ridiculous two-legged horse request is coming up, Foxy. I think the word I want to use is excited. I think. All right, I'm going to save a copy of this pauldron and put it in that folder for students, just to make it as reusable and fun for y'all as possible. Oh yeah, we have all these chain pieces. Let's go ahead and merge those down. All right, we are all labeled correctly for once. Incredible. Foxy says, yay, two-legged horse. Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous. I am excited about it. I'm also curious how hung up I'm gonna be on like trying to make it make any sense, or if I'm gonna go like full ridiculous with it. I think there's only one answer here. We'll just see how much I resist. All right, so these are really weird. We are getting into the tricky part. All right, so we did the shoulder pauldron. We got the shape. This is the shape. Good job, us. Success. Now we need to figure out how to do the part that actually makes it look cool. Ooh, that was a fun, weird thing there. Which is the spikes. You can sculpt them. I could maybe use Sculptress Pro, but I hate repeating things if I don't need to. So I think the way to do it might be creating this jewel piece and little spikies around that. And then once I have that done, perhaps creating like a row of spikes, like right here. See this row right here? Once I have that, I can duplicate it all over the rest of it, up and down. I love when I describe something and I know I described it really easy and I'm like, it's not going to be that easy. It's fine. Empress says, the way Mia just works her magic on these pieces. Stop. Foxy said, I want to say you did something to deserve my ridiculous request, but I think it might just be bullying. I missed your bullying. Honestly, Foxy. Welcome back. If my friends aren't being mean to me, I don't think they're my friends. So, Miguel can attest to this. I'm almost done with my hot chocolate, and it's getting to that lower part where it just tastes like sludge. Not my favorite. Probably done with that now. All right, Empress said something really nice to me, and I'm feeling a little more confident. So, confidence. Okay, we're doing the thing. Sounds good. Goodbye, Miguel. All right, let's get these gems in here. Probably getting a second color. Crazy. They're located pretty much right at her armpit. How come these are just not in symmetry? Where's my second one? Ah, I'm on the Z axis, that's why. I didn't do that right. Let's see. I'll pick a diamond cut. I'm really looking at the placement of this because it will be annoying to move later. Yes. Awesome. And then we'll split mouse points. And we're going to start doing the thing. I'm going to raise up some material around this gem. And this is where it's going to get real sculpty, y'all. You ready for it to get real sculpty in here? I'm not. Yes, I am. Okay, we're going to mask this section. I'm going to inflate it. Wow, that's not what I wanted to happen. We're going to do it again. We're going to inflate it. Thanks, ZBrush. There we go. We got that little ship in there. And then I'm trying to figure out if the slash brush is an after thing or a now thing. I think it's going to be an after thing. I'm going to try using Sculptress Pro. To create these shapes. Oh, that's so gonna work. Listen, it's very camera sensitive. So I don't wanna hear, when you do it, it works, but when I do it, it doesn't. I suffered. I learned how to be like, what's my exact camera angle? It's very sensitive. Okay. We're gonna just worry about one plane of spikes. And then we're going to try to find how to get the second plane of spikes. There we go. I found it. And we're not spending too much time on this because I might not even like it. That's something, like, I admire it in my students, but I'm also like, maybe don't do that. Y'all are so confident that if you just spend a ton of time on something, it will look good. And art is just not like that. It might not even look good. So if you're experimenting, just do it really fast and poorly. And then you'll see, is there even like the start of something here or no? And it's okay if the answer is no. The answer is no for me all the time. And that's fine. If you're spending more than 5 minutes to like test out a technique, it's probably too long. You see how much I have to turn the camera? You see, this is, I don't want anyone seeing this and thinking, oh my God, it's so easy. Like, no, it's gonna fight you. Don't be discouraged, just expect it. All right, now that I got these blobs, I think it looks okay, but it's looking a little blobby. So what if I just make my brush size smaller and make this a bit pointier? Will that get some of the scariness effect? A little bit. If I zoom out, it looks good. So that tells me we're onto something. These flower things look terrible, so I'm gonna work on that. Oh, Forge is here. Hello, hello. I would puncture my own ear wearing that. Oh, absolutely. Empress says, I honestly mean it. I don't idolize anyone, but I do admire the level of skill you possess. Oh, and can only hope to have a fraction of it with your guidance. You did the 8 years. I've barely started. This is true, but you're making great progress. It's been a joy teaching you, truly. That's very sweet of you. Aw. Aw. I definitely have that moment where I'm like, me? And I'm like, oh yeah, I do the things. I make cool art. It's happened. It still feels nice to hear though, so thank you. If I do this with the slash brush, will I get stuff that looks intentional? That's in the wrong direction. No. Yes? Guys, it's so hard to do anything. Okay. That looks better. I did a structure. And then what if I just like spider web on this entire thing? What if I just literally scribble? I am literally scribbling. I need you guys to know how much of my experimentation is just bullshit. It's so important to know that because it looks kind of cool, right? And then I'm like, okay, what if I made it less unintentional bullshit? The biggest thing that's making this look bad, I think, is these stupid like flower lumps I made. It looks like a really sad sunflower. So I'm just gonna smooth that away because I don't like that. But I like the rest of it. And then kind of build off of that shape. What if I really define the exterior of this. You know, what if it looks intentional? Crazy, hear me out. Yeah, let's get a lip on the edge of this too. I don't know if I want the edge on top or on the bottom. I think I want it on the bottom, which is unusual. Usually I like it flipped. Ooh, I didn't like either one. What happens if I don't like either option? Oh, that means I didn't follow the reference. There we go, see? There's pointy parts down. How does this not just skewer her arm? Okay, not important. We're looking cool, not reasonable. She doesn't look like she'd like hugs. I like her. Yeah, oh my goodness. I'm starting to see the thing, guys. If I hold shift, what does it do? So I click and drag, and I held shift. Ooh, the heck? It goes on a straight axis line. Okay. That's something that I feel like I can figure out at some point. Today's not that day. I still don't like these things. Go away. Turn on. There we go. Yeah. But just notice, like, when I say, oh, I don't like this, but I do like this, I'm not like, this is trash. Like, you have to be nice to yourself. I know if Matt's here, he's like, hey, you've gotten a lot better. This is so unwearable, and I love it. I do. All right, we're doing the scribble thing again. And it kind of just needs to look like spider webs. Notice I keep zooming out when I'm working on this one because I just want like the general shape. Don't look at it too close. If you don't look at it too close, it's gonna look really good. Forge said, I spent 4 hours detailing a chair today. I don't deserve to be kind to myself. Does it look like a 4-hour detailed chair? This better be the sexiest chair I've ever seen. Bad. You've been really good this week though, so it was about, you were due. Kind of just figuring out a technique here to detail this in a way that's cool. Hello, it goes. Oh my god, it's Matt from the Forge of Many Things. It is. All right, these shoulder patterns are a goddamn mess, and you know what? I'll be damned if they don't look cool. All right, what is not colored, but was supposed to be colored? All right, let's get some, oh my gosh, there's a cape on this. How did I not even notice there's a cape? We'll do that too. I'm having so much freaking fun making these. Someone needs to request a model that would utilize these like yesterday. This is so cool. All right, I think I got everything colored. Very nice. Ooh, why is that changing material but nothing else did? It doesn't even make sense. Fine, I won't color you then. All right, moving on. I need this blood red cape. I also need to do these van braces. We still have a half hour. Oh, heck yeah. I'm like killing it on time today. We did this in an hour and a half and I'm feeling jammed about that, so. Cool. All right, moving on. Celebration over. Van brace low. Matt, have you seen these newer streams I'm doing? Or no, you have, because you said I look happy. And I remember that made me happy, because Loa also said I looked happier. And I was like, oh, 2 people I care about saying the same positive thing. Anyway, reminder that I share these files. I share the base meshes or pieces of this. If you want to kit bash and do stuff with it, like, you're welcome to. It's not super usable, but it is cool. Oh, that's so funny. I saw on our Discord right now that Blue Butter said, I thought you were a bot until this message. Talking to my husband, Mr. M3DM. Yeah, no, Mr. M3DM is like a whole ass person. He is a real boy. Oh my gosh. Duke says, I don't think anyone would be upset if you went longer than 2 hours. Just saying. Yeah, I do kind of miss my long streams, honestly. But no. We'll see. All right, apply. This is an interesting piece as well that I'm gonna just abuse with the slash brush, I think. Yeah, that's gonna be the way. I need to remember to add trim before I do dynamic subdiv. Ugh, I forget every time. All right, stroke, frame mesh, add curve mesh. Beautiful. That's it. It's like 3 steps and I just keep forgetting. Now we'll add thickness. Dynamic, thickness, apply, which subdivide a bunch of times, maybe Dynamesh if I think I need like more texture for this. And we're gonna combine Sculptress Pro with the slash brush this time. All right, so we're gonna do some cool nonsense. It's pretty much like this spider web shape. Am I flipping this the wrong way? I am. I need to use the brush like this. Better I notice now instead of later. Okay. There we go. There is one layer. And we pretty much just keep doing that. I got enough of a model done that looks really freaking cool. I should just keep her over here. There, then people can see what the heck we're doing. Crazy. All right. Most of y'all are just enjoying the vibes, but if you are an inspiring 3D artist and you are lost and would like to know what the heck I'm doing, ask questions and I will explain it to you. Unless your question's stupid. I'm just kidding. Most of your questions are really good. The only people I'm mean to are people that like don't spend any effort phrasing the question. I've had people join the stream and they just go like, pose when? That's so fucking rude. Just spell out, when are you gonna pose? Don't pose when me. Get out. You will not be welcome in the TAVERB. If you speak in complete sentences, you're pretty good. Not in complete sentences. If you just speak in phrases, honestly, the bar is not super high. If I raised the bar to complete sentences, then Monkey wouldn't be able to stay here. And we love Monkey. No excluding the monkey. You guys have to see this in our Discord. This is so funny. This is what I was talking about, where like Blue Butter was like, I thought you were a bot until this message, talking to my husband. And he's like, what the hell? Oh, that is so funny. That's great. Oh, if you're not in our Discord, you should be. Ask and we'll give you an invite. Ooh, when pose. I see the lowest getting. Unique. Unique. I was gonna say freaky. What? Okay. Hi, Reaper. Hello, hello. Matt says, sorry, I heard my name, but my wife was explaining how she theorizes ghosts are alternate realities leaking into our dimensions. I think, anyway, I agree with everything you said. That's awesome. Your wife sounds awesome. Your wife sounds fun. Heck yeah. Aloha, you must be losing your damn mind over this armor set. This is so eldritchy. Like, yeah. A resin-powered bot that Mia keeps in the dungeon. Someone put that in TAVERB quotes. That's what Ricky is. That's amazing. You heard it here first, folks. All right, we're gonna try that thing where we combine snake hook with the slash brush. This is what I probably should have done for the Belgians, but we didn't. Today, Mia has 6 different accents, and none of them done well. What a treat. I'm warming up. I want to start DMing, and I want to be that DM that does voices, but I'm super shy about stuff like that, and I'm like, I gotta get better at sounding silly. Which means doing it on stream. This looks so good. Oh my god. The heck? Alright, let's add more gems. I'm really liking the gems. Is this the symmetry? Yes, good. There's also gems on her hands. What a fancy lady. We'll put it at the end of the van brace, and we're gonna go with the pointy one instead. I really like this pear shape. Awesome. Wow. We didn't do this like dragon head thing. We might, but I'm gonna do the cape because that's a really easy one. To make a cape, pay attention. Go to plain 3D. Make it the color you want. What a great tutorial. It's like, how do you do that? Seriously though, you hold spacebar, you can see, pick any color here, and then you're gonna go to the color window at the top here. There's a fill color button, and that's all you have to do. If your Z intensity isn't, like RGB intensity is not 100, it's not gonna fill it to the same saturation, the color that you picked. All right, that looks pretty good. We're gonna make it skinnier. Click W for the 3D gizmo, then the gear, and then taper. Got a nice little shape. There we go. Boop. I'm gonna turn on double so I can actually see it on both sides. Last but not least, we're gonna subdivide it a bunch of times. And now add some delicious fabric folds. I just like using the standard brush. It's very simple. And again, whenever I start using fabric folds, I think about what kind of fold I'm trying to make, and I spend a little bit of time, like, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute, just doing the same fold over and over again and adjusting the brush settings until I get something I really like. Why are you barely moving the mesh? That's annoying. Better. Let's increase the intensity. There we go. And then I take away material and add material. And I just keep doing that over and over again. And when you get to a center line, turn off symmetry and finish the rest manually. Otherwise, it's gonna look goofy. There we go. Gorgeous cape in like what, 30 seconds? Spend time preparing. That president quote I can't get right, which is, you know, axe sharpen, best tree cut. You're welcome. All right, that looks really good. So from here, you can go to bend curve without subdivision levels, otherwise it will not work. And then you can actually fit the cape. If you grab this little cone and like stretch it, you get more points. There you go. Now I'm gonna use my move brush to actually fine tune the way that this fits. I'm gonna put it right between these pauldrons. Again, just using the move brush. Holding down Option to push or pull the brush. Oh, I didn't detail the back of this, like literally at all. Let me put like an X on it or something. Intention. Ooh, that already looks intentional. There. Gifted. All right. Oh my God. The way I would wear this every day, everywhere, if I owned it. Incredible. Hello, it says Mia. Who know we do more horror armor? I feel like we do spooky stuff a lot now, but you're fine. Pose yes. All right, Empress says, we're being serious now. Empress says, oh, something I've been trying to hunt down. If taking a model from print ready to game asset, but either people have not tried or have, and it just sucks, so I gotta figure something else out. Okay, so, no. I'm just gonna start with no, which is a terrible, not positive way. No. You can make a game asset. A game asset and a 3D print are just so not the same thing. I know you know this. So when you look at Thor here, you can see all these textures and bumps and stuff. When I touch it with my finger, it actually feels sharp, right? If this was a game asset that I could hold in my hand, it would be textureless. It would just be smooth, perfectly smooth. All of the detail you see is just a picture that has been wrapped to it. So what you would need to do is ask Aloha about this. Aloha has the right workflow for this, where you take your assets that are high res, you make a low res version of it, usually by retopologizing by hand, woof. And then you take your original high mesh again and make a texture map and a normal map to it, which is going to pretty much give like peaks and valleys on a flat map that you can then wrap. How does it know where to fit onto that mesh? UV maps. So you have to do all of those different things, and that's how you get a game asset. So you could just sculpt this, call this 3D print ready. Just don't mesh everything down. Right before you finish your 3D print ready model, you can start converting it into a game asset. But once you've Dynameshed everything down, you were way too far. You can't do it anymore. Great question. Forge says, are you thinking rigged character or simple prop? And yeah, that's a great question that Matt, specifies for asking Empress. And yeah, if it's a rigged character, still the workflow that I said. You are correct though. I like that Matt asked that. If you just want a simple prop, you could absolutely take that Dynamesh version and just skin the texture map and rip the normal map off of that, and then you'd have a statue, but it would not be rigged and not move. Yeah. Hey, Ricky's back. Hello. We are about done with today's stream, but it was a great one. It might be worth rewatching. So, yes. Oh, there we go. Aloha says, yes, high res, low res, and then bake details, etc., etc. Hand unwrap each tool, etc., etc. Cry a lot, then render, lighting, etc., etc. Thank you, Aloha. All right, all of these beautiful pieces will be shared with my students. We have a lot of them. This is a content-heavy delivery for students. So a reminder that students got two things today. They got everything you see in front of me, and I also felt extra generous. I made this before the stream, and I made it into my very first play set for my students. So I kept all of the pieces that I used to make these flower arches and broke them down. So the individual leaf, flower, rocks, all that kind of stuff. I also included the rope brush, which I used to make vines. So yeah, if you want to make your own beautiful forest gateway, you can now do so. These have been shared with my students. And if you want access to that, my mentorship program is $1 a day. You get all of the assets that I create and share on my streams, in addition to one-on-one mentorship from me. I know it's a ridiculous deal, but it works out. I can pay my bills, so I don't care if it's a great deal. Would you? Let's get this painted and name that cape. There we go. And fill object. There we are. Beautiful. I am so proud of today's model. Oh my goodness. So proud. I'm gonna go ahead and save this for y'all. Oh, you know what? I need to clear that piece first. That way y'all don't get confused. Okay, we will call this will be a Z tool. And again, I use a really old version of ZBrush. I use 2022. So that means if you have a new version of ZBrush, this will work no problem. I highly doubt anyone has a version of ZBrush that is too old to open my files. I highly, highly doubt it. If you make a file, I can't open it. But I can make files and share them to you. Okay. Alrighty, this is going to be our medieval Gothic armor. And October 10th was the stream that goes along with it. I'm uploading that for students to play with right now. And a reminder, we have that flower arch playset for you guys too. Empress, I used ZBrush 2012. No, you don't. I know you don't, because if you did, you would not be able to open the file that I saw you play with. Oh, and Aloha was super helpful and cool, like always. Check this out. If you just got here, you're in luck because one, the stream is over and you get to see everything all at once without having to wait. Here is the process. This is what we did today in a timeline. I'm just gonna slowly click through this. It's fun for me to see too. Again, that's using the slash brush. It's a lot of slash brush. And then here is the next section. Yeah, that's me from this to this. It's just using the snake hook brush with Sculptris Pro enabled. Sculptris Pro will generate topology, or what's the fancy word? Tessellate topology as you deform it. And there you go. Our final product right here. Thank you, Aloha. I love those timelines. I think they're so fun to see, and I know everyone else enjoys them as well. Man, this was so freaking fun. How about we get a fun render on this, shall we? To do that, I'm just gonna go to Merge Visible. It's gonna be a lot of polys, so ZBrush is not gonna like this. Ooh, that was weird. That means I have a mask somewhere. There we go. Scoot that over. Not like that. Oh, I'm so proud of this. God, it looks amazing. Yay me. That's why I like doing these streams, you know? It's feeding that art soul. And then fancy render incoming, assuming it doesn't break itself. Yes. Cool. So yeah, we did this in 2 hours. Oh, someone new is here. Crafty Rat. Great username. On the right, you sculpt in different angle. On the left, we have a front view progressing in real time. Is this some sort of plugin? No. I just merged down. Oh, you mentioned I had the front view. So, okay, I understand. In ZBrush, if you hold Shift S, it will stamp that image onto your canvas. And then it's not actually a 3D model, it's just a picture, kind of like a screenshot. I do that because when I sculpt, I tend to zoom in a lot. So if people join the stream, they're like, what the heck are you working on? So it helps if I have something like a progress stamp that's always stationary. And then I can also sculpt in real time still. Yeah. But yeah, welcome in. Welcome to the TAVERB. I'm sure all the peasants in the chat will greet you. Empress says, another armor set to steal. Exactly. This has been shared on Discord through that Google Drive link with my students. So enjoy. Aloha said, I think this is actually my new favorite armor for Mia, replacing that knight set she did a little while ago. Thank you, thank you. And what's funny is this one was so much freaking easier. Did this one in 2 hours. The other night set took me like 4 days because I was so obsessed with keeping it picture perfect instead of being messy and just sculpting the damn thing. Just sculpt the damn thing. It's so much more fun. Isn't it? It's visually interesting, but not overly complicated. Simple pieces on top of each other create a dynamic whole. I agree. I'm really happy with it. And the crafty rat says, gotcha, thanks. And then Reaper's upset with how unrealistic this is because she would poke herself in the face. Wah. It's a spellcaster. She's fucking cool. I don't care. Also with pauldrons, God, if you guys want to become this, you can move them a little farther away. We could just take this mesh here. You can just mask the top. Just take the spikes and rotate them. It also tore her ear and her hand off. Do you see what we've done, Reaper? Do you see what you've done? No, I just genuinely find the like fantasy armor being realistic or not such an ice cold boring take at this point. Ugh, God. Make it fun. Be fun. Thank you, Loa. You know, just to keep piling on to Reaper, because I do love Reaper, maybe if it did stab her in the face, you know, what if she's like a blood mage? Because your face bleeds a lot. You can make this intentional. You can always make it intentional. And then Bunny is in our Discord right now saying, ah, heck, I forgot to share references. Do people still want to see hot but evil lady knights? Obviously. If you guys want to see more of that too, hang out our Discord under the TAVERB Peasant Hub. That's where we are. I'm still baffled I did this in under 2 hours. Cannot underestimate enough being your own cheerleader, y'all. Hype yourself up. And it's like, oh, but being humble. Artists are we're so mean to ourselves. I don't know why artists and creatives are just like the worst to themselves. So if you can try to be the other extreme, honestly, go nuts. I think it's healthier. I really do. Am I gonna do the dragon cod piece? I'm not. I'm gonna leave it where it's at, actually. I'm really happy with where we ended this. It is cool, though. It really is. So cool. Do I have any last minute questions? If not, this is the last stream of the week. Every Monday, in our Discord, I post a new stream schedule with a little sneak preview of what we'll be doing. Generally, I stream 2 to 3 times a week. You can also just subscribe on YouTube and just hope YouTube tells you about it. That's also totally fine. Yes, you can, Empress. Duke said, I was just wondering. It looks great, though. I agree. Thank you, thank you. This is so cool. I just love it so much. You could take this and clean it up even more, because in a lot of ways this is kind of like a sketchy block out, but because everything fits together so well, it looks even better. It's kind of like a Monet. If you zoom in on it, it's kind of a bunch of blobs, but if you zoom out, it's very pretty. Emperor says, I have no questions, just excited to work. Your attitude is fantastic. It really is. Well, excellent. If my students don't need anything from me, I'm going to end the stream here. I had a great time. You guys are wonderful. Take care, my peasants, and I will see you next week. Alrighty. Bye. I'm back because I didn't get my screenshot. Thank you, Duke. I always like taking a screenshot with my work because it's fun. I'm back. all right. We're taking a screenshot and they're going away. Oh shit, it's not working because I shut everything down. 1 second. All right, we're working. Okay, smile, everybody. And we're good. I got my screenshot of my face with my work. Goodbye.